Welcome to the Serious Sarcasm Podcast. My name is Jay DeRozier. Everything you hear is purely my opinion and absolutely not gospel truth. If you do find yourself getting a little bit too worked up over what I say, feel free to take your opinion and, well, you know where. Now that we got that straightened out, sit back, relax, and you might want to get yourself some popcorn because it's going to be a long one. Enjoy the show, y'all.
What's going on? What's going on? My name is Jay DeRozier. Welcome to the Serious Sarcasm Podcast. All right, y'all. First and foremost, I'm going to get us off the rip. Listen, like the intro says, if you don't like my opinion, take yours and shove it up your you-know-what. Anyways, I want to say to my new listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I do appreciate you guys tuning in. To my returning listeners, thank you so much for coming back. Thank you so much for retweeting the posts, the likes, the comments, the subscriptions. We do appreciate it here. At the Serious Sarcasm Podcast. I also want to give a quick shout out to the voice in the sky, the voice of God, more or less, Mr. Phil, the podcast doctor, also the producer of this podcast.
Welcome.
You're going to hear him, of course. For those who kept asking who's the guy talking in the background every time I post a video or post a short, it's Phil.
You should just gaslight them like, there's nobody talking.
I low-key wanted to do that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I low-key wanted to be like, ain't nobody talking. What you talking about?
Who?
Like, you're hearing things. You're hearing. It's like, no, you responded to him. I'm like, who's him? What are you talking about? You talking about? There's no physical entity there.
That's so funny.
But thank you guys so much for joining us, man. Thank you coming back to another episode of the pod. We're gonna start it off like we always do. We talk about 4 topics, and then the final topic, which is the 5th topic, is the segment called the Bro What You On segment, which I usually just kick somebody's back in, whoever did something stupid or a dumb criminal or just somebody, usually somebody from Florida, because every week you know we got a crazy Florida man story.
Gotta represent.
Yep, got to represent. So this first topic probably should have been Bro What You On, but we got a better Bro What You On later on in the show. But I'm going to talk about none other than Miss Valentina Gomez. If you don't know who Miss Valentina Gomez is, she's pictures on the screen. She's I believe, 25 or 26-year-old Cuban American. She ran for Congress in Missouri.
No, say it right.
Missouri.
There you go.
But she lost her primary election. If you guys don't know what primary election is, usually if you're running for Congress, whether it be a Republican, independent, or even a Democrat, you have to run through a primary. So basically you're running against other people in your own political party. For example, if I'm running as an independent, if there's 4 independents running, we're all going to run so we can be the main independent on the ticket when the election comes around in November, because then I can run as the main independent for my party, and then I'll run against the Democrat or the Republican in the other 2 parties. Now, the reason why I bring up Valentina Gomez, if you don't know who Valentina Gomez is, I'm going to kick her back in a little bit to start the show. Listen, first and foremost, Miss Valentina Gomez has some of the craziest tweets I ever heard in my life, or ever read in my life, I should say. She has tweets about basically calling people faggots, the F word. To my gay listeners, to my listeners on the LGBT community, I do apologize for saying that word. I'm just going to start saying the F word from this point on. I just wanted to confirm what the word was before I go any further. So she's called people the F word. She has basically tiptoed around saying the N word to black people. She's tiptoed around saying other vile and crude things to people, but we're going to really kick her back in. The reason why, in her primary election, Ms. Valentina Gomez, who calls herself a America MAGA First Republican, which I've never heard of anybody call themselves specifically. I've heard people call themselves a conservative, far right conservative. People call themselves a moderate Republican, but she called herself a MAGA America First Republican.
So they have like subsects now of MAGA groups?
It's the same thing I'm thinking. It's the same thing I'm thinking. I was literally like, this thing about MAGA Republicans. I'm gonna get back to Valentina in a second. MAGA Republicans specifically, you guys have so many subgroups and subgenres for what kind of Republican or MAGA supporter you are, but you guys don't understand the quote unquote different groups of people when it comes to identifying them in their sex or their sexual orientation. Make that make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Anyways, but back to Valentina. So the reason I'm bringing up Valentina is in a 8-person race for the Republican seat that she was running for in Missouri, Valentina ended up in guess what place she ended up in, bro? And Guess what place? Guess what place? Just guess.
Third place.
Third place? Oh, that's a good guess. Because MAGA in Missouri usually ends up voting red, right? So you think somebody who's very MAGA and Trump supporter will end up being in third place, maybe second. Since she lost, maybe second or third. You know what I'm saying? Psych. She ended up in sixth place in an 8-person race. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna show you. I wish I was Charlamagne. I give her a donkey today for that.
Yeah.
But let me explain to y'all why this is hilarious to me. And a race where you had 100% of the vote, she ended up with 7.4% of the entire vote. Here's the craziest thing about her ended up in 7.4% of the vote. This is what she said when she asked about her results. The results were on last Wednesday. I can't remember the date off the top of my head. But she said, and I quote, "I made history in the name of Jesus Christ." Valentina, I am a young man who grew up in a Catholic household, but I consider myself a Christian now. I grew up, I did the 7 commandments, confirmation, baptism, communion, all that good stuff. And I'm going to say, I'm not going to speak for God when I say this, or Jesus when I say this. You got to be the dumbest motherfucker on earth. Like, the dumbest. Judas was a dumbass motherfucker, but you a different level of dumbass. Like, you just stupid. Valentina, the other reason I want to kick you back in is you call yourself, you say that God transformed you into being the most feared woman most feared, respected, and loved woman in American politics. Baby girl, you're not even in politics because you didn't win your seat. That's like me saying to people like, yo, I'm a professional basketball player. And I'm sitting courtside at NBA games rather than even getting a tryout for an NBA team. Matter of fact, I take that back. That's like me saying like, yo, I played high school football and I rode the bench the entire 4 years I was in high school. You're not even in the game, baby girl. Like, how you gonna hate from outside of the club? You can't even get in. Literally, you can't get in. You ended up in 6th place. All that hate speech that you were throwing out. Matter of fact, Phil, can you put the picture of her burning the LGBTQ books real quick on the screen? You went viral for burning these books and saying to people like, don't be weak or be an F word. You need to toughen up. And you burned those books at the same time. And you still lost. You deserve it. You deserve it. Everything that comes to you, you deserve it. You are... I'm not even going to go too much farther into you because I can't waste any more breath on somebody like you. But it bothers me that somebody who came from two parents who fled Cuba to come to America because of the BS that was going on in that country. And I'm not saying Cubans are BS people. I'm saying what was going on in that country at the time your family fled the country is BS because of the human rights violations and everything else that was going on in that country. And you come to this country as an immigrant, as a first-generation American immigrant. Cuban American immigrant, and you still spew the same nonsense rhetoric that was going on in your family's country, your family's home country. And guess what? It got you nowhere. Just like those people who were spewing that crap in Cuba, it got them nowhere. Valentina, I want you to be a prime example of what not to do to get things done in the world. You don't have to spew hate and garbage to get things done in the world. And I'm not saying you got to be Nelson Mandela or Barack Obama to get things done. And granted, those are 2 black men I just mentioned. But you don't have to be, that type of person to get things done in the world. But what you're doing, I didn't see it not work. Reading my textbook, I saw it not work for people like Hitler. It's not working for Donald Trump at the moment. And I'm going to get to Donald Trump in a second. And it's not working for other people like you. So guess what? Just give it up, shorty. You deserve to just walk away freely. And, you know what the worst part is, Phil?
What?
She was a very successful person before this. She was a Division I athlete. I think she was a swimmer, if I'm not mistaken. She's a very beautiful woman. I'm not going to take that away from her. But as you can tell with her, beauty's only skin deep. She graduated, a great university. Like, she's really talented and a talented mind, but she decided to take the easy way out to become successful in politics, and she failed. So, Valentina, you deserve it. Take your L, and there's your back kicking for you. Before I transition to this next topic, I had something I want to get off my chest. Phil, can you please make this next thing I'm about to say into a TikTok short?
Okay.
Because this is going to go viral. Yo. Oh, let me set up for this one. Yo, to you people out there that shop in retail stores, whether it be Target, Nike, Walmart, and your item doesn't scan or have a price on it, to you idiots that go up to the register and go like, hey, this doesn't have a price on it and it's not scanning. It must be free, right? Shut your bitch ass up. I can't stand you motherfuckers. I hope you motherfuckers fall on the concrete walking outside after you bought whatever you bought at the store and bust your fucking bottom lip. I hate you people. I hate you people. I genuinely hate you people. Oh, this is not scanning. It must be free, right? Shut your bitch ass up. Anyways, that was just a side note. But in more fun topics and fun news, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the best time of the year. Summer's over. Olympics just passed. You know, we kind of got out of those dog days of the summer where only thing on TV was baseball. Granted, I am a Yankees fan. Shout out to Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and the new Yankee, Mr. Jazz Chisholm Jr. We killing it right now. I love it. I'm gonna get a Jazz Chisholm jersey anyways. But I'm not talking about baseball right now. I'm talking about none other than the best thing to watch on a Saturday afternoon after waking up at 11 o'clock in the afternoon is college football's back, ladies and gentlemen. College football is back. The reason I want to talk about college football, though, leading into this college football season, this season is kind of crazy. SEC is a super conference. The Big Ten is a super conference. I do want to talk about a couple of points. Phil, can you put up the top 25 going into the season real quick for me, please?
Boom.
All right, perfect. So number one, as you can see, Georgia is number one. Obviously, Georgia did not make the Final Four playoff last year because Alabama beat them.
Can you still read it?
Yeah, I can still see it just fine. Okay. Ohio State's number 2, Oregon number 3, Texas number 4, Bama number 5. Bama, even after losing Nick Saban as a coach, him retiring, Bama's still in the top 5. Shout outs to them boys in Bama. Ole Miss at number 6. By the way, Ole Miss, I know they're at number 6, but Ole Miss is my sleeper team this season for the college football championship. I'm telling you right, Ole Miss is my sleeper team. I think Lane Kiffin actually could figure it out this year. I'm going to be honest with you. I think he'll actually figure it out this year. Now that Tricky Nicky is gone, Ole Miss got a chance to actually make it. 12-team playoff. Ole Miss is going to make the playoff. I'm going to say that off rip. Ole Miss is going to make the playoff. But I think Ole Miss is going to have an easier way to maybe end up meeting Georgia or Texas or Ohio State in probably the last round or semifinal, I should say, or the championship game. I think they're going to have to beat Texas or Ohio State or Texas and Georgia to play Ohio State. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have to play 1 or 2 out of the 3 teams to win the championship. But continuing to the rankings, you got Notre Dame at 7, Penn State at 8, Michigan at 9, Florida State at 10. I don't know why. Missouri at 11, Utah at 12, LSU, Clemson, Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Miami, the U, a.k.a. You got Texas A&M, Arizona, Kansas, and the last 3 teams in the top 25 is USC, NC State, and Iowa. As you can see in this top 25 is a lot of Big Ten teams and SEC teams. I do want to shout out the Big Ten specifically because looking at these rankings, seeing Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, USC, Oregon, USC and Oregon, 2 former Pac-12 schools now in the Big Ten, seeing that many teams in the top 25, I think the Big Ten is going to win. I think one of those teams in the Big Ten is going to win a championship. If it's not Georgia out of the SEC or Texas out of the SEC, I think the championship game winner is going to be Oregon or Ohio State. It kills me to say this. I'm a big USC Trojans fan. Lincoln Riley pisses me off year after year after year because he can't coach a damn defense, but he'll get a Heisman Trophy quarterback every single damn year. I think he's had a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback since coaching at Oklahoma, except for Jalen Hurts. And it's not like that year Jalen Hurts played at Oklahoma, he wasn't a finalist or even in the top 6 of the votes because Jalen Hurts played damn well. And as you can tell, every quarterback that's played for Lincoln Riley has had some type of success in the NFL, whether it be Caleb. Well, Caleb is going into his rookie season. You got Kyler Murray, you got Jalen Hurts, and you got Baker Mayfield. Every quarterback that's played for him has either been drafted in the first round or has some type of success in the NFL. So, Lincoln Riley, I'm a big USC Trojans fan. I've been a USC Trojans fan since the days of Carson Palmer, Troy Polamalu, Reggie Bush, Taylor Mays, Raymond Luga, Clay Matthews, who am I missing? Dwayne Jarrett, Matt Leinart, Lindell White, Juju Smith-Schuster, Matt Barkley, Sam Darnold, Adoree Jackson, Ronald Jones Jr. I'm a big USC Trojans fan. So I want to see USC do well. I don't think they're going to do well this year. It's going to be the first year in the Big Ten, and I think they're going to end up being like 8-4, maybe 9-5, something like that. They're going to get a good season, but I don't think USC is going to be a 10-win team this year. Oof. Which sucks to say. Another team I have high hopes for, but I think they're going to have a tough road to start out. But I think this year they got to – I think Colorado got to figure it out this year, man.
The Buffaloes.
I think Colorado and Deion's going to figure it out this year. Last year, they had all the fireworks around them. Obviously, we know they started the season 3-0. They had 3 good wins. They lost that next game, I believe. It was to Oregon. And then they lost the game after that, which was a crazy game between them and USC. It was Shedeur Sanders and Caleb Williams going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I think this year, seeing all the transfers to Colorado got everything they got handled, I think Colorado is going to figure it out this year and they're going to have a successful season. Colorado is going to make a bowl game. You can stamp it now. Today is August 23rd. When you hear this episode, it's going to be August 24th, Saturday. Stamp it now. Colorado is going to a bowl game and they're going to win a bowl game. Colorado's winning 9 games this year. I really think Colorado's going to win 9 games this year. So shout outs to Deion. I got high hopes for Deion, Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Shiloh Sanders, the whole family out there, man. So Deion, man, I'm looking out for you, man. I think you got it, man. Power of God, you always have it in you, and I think it's going to look out for you this year, man. Real talk. Next topic I want to talk about, y'all, to get away from college football, is another type of topic that really divides America, and that's politics. Ladies and gentlemen, this past week was the Democratic National Convention. As you can see, that sea of people. As you can see, the picture that's on the screen is obviously early in the night before everybody showed up. But man, you got a lot of things that happened in the Democratic National Convention. First thing I want to talk about. I'm gonna talk about some highlights, lowlights, kick people's back in, all at the same time. The first thing I want to talk about is kicking somebody's back in, and that's Mike Lindell. If you don't know who Mike Lindell is, he's the owner of the MyPillow franchise. As you know, he basically more or less kind of went bankrupt. He was a billionaire, big Trump supporter, conspiracy theorist, tinfoil hat type guy. Mike Lindell was spewing a bunch of BS rhetoric in the lobby of the Democratic National Convention, which was held in Chicago at the United Center, which the Chicago Bulls play in. The reason why I want to kick his back in specifically, the rhetoric that he was spilling, there was a 12-year-old by the name of Noah, K-N-O-W-A. This 12-year-old, man, he is a superstar in the making. I wouldn't be surprised if that kid ends up on CNN or Fox News or any of these super specific and super popular political networks. This little 12-year-old kid, yo, Phil, if you look up this kid, man, this kid is bright, dog.
Noah, K-N-O-W-A?
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever seen that spelled like that.
I ain't seen it. It's the blackest shit I've ever seen in my life. That is fried chicken. That's chicken fried steak black. But Noah, man, yo, he was going back and forth with this. Mike Lindell, if you guys don't know who he is, like I said, my pillow guy, deep Trump supporter. He got sued for spewing the lies and threatening people over Trump losing an election. You know, obviously the election fraud that never happened. But Mike Lindell was going back and forth with this 12-year-old kid at the beginning of the national convention, right, in the lobby. And he was spewing like, oh, this person cheated, that person cheated in Georgia, this person cheated in that state, this person cheated in that state. You know what Noah, this 12-year-old did? This 12-year-old said to him, hey, I would love to see your sources. What are your sources? And Mike Lindell responds with, well, you can look it up in your sources. You can look it up. No. Typical BS rhetoric. Mm-hmm. Noah responds with the most 12-year-old response ever, but it was so genius. He literally just said to him and said, so your source is just trust me, bro? Yo, that 12-year-old, but that 12-year-old, I was looking at his tweets on Twitter, man, and watching his interview. He had an interview. I forgot who did an interview with him this week, but he had an interview, and that 12-year-old kid, man, wise beyond his years, man. So I do want to give a shout out to that kid. I can't remember his last name for the life of me, but Noah, man, I want to give you a round of applause, man. You handled yourself with grace, and what's the word, man?
He's very demure.
Very demure, very demure. That little kid, man, was very demure, man. Like, he literally held himself back, and he didn't show his age. I think that's something that's very lost art in our society today. A lot of people act their shoe size, not their age. And I can't even say that. I wear a size 12. That little kid is 12. So if I had more 12-year-olds, forget it. If we had more 28-year-olds, 58-year-olds, 48-year-olds who acted like kids with that same compassion and personality, man, the world would be a better place. So shout out to that kid, Noah. Next thing I want to talk about, man, is AOC. AOC, man, I want to give her a shout out. She had a great speech at the Democratic National Convention. But also with AOC, shout outs to New York, shout outs to the Bronx, because that's where she's from. AOC, in the past 4-6 years, I've seen her, and she came onto the scene. Going from a waitress to a politician, man, this young woman, I've just seen the growth from her. I don't know if she'll ever run for president in the future. I don't think she'll probably do that. I think her power more so lies in her probably try to run for a senator seat or maybe a governor seat. She is somebody who's bright. Her speech was incredible. Her speech was very thought-provoking and very, I'm not gonna say gut-wrenching, like it really tried to get some type of emotion out of you. And it was really well done. So shout outs to her and her speech writers. I do want to give another big shout out to a Florida representative, Mr. Maxwell Frost.
Yeah.
Maxwell Frost, man, I want to give you a shout out, my guy. If you see this, I'm in Orlando. You could come down to the Serious Sarcasm Podcast, do an interview with me. I would love to interview you, man.
We can get him on.
Oh, we can get him on? Oh, if we could get him on, man, that'd be a great interview, man. I'd love to get him on.
Yeah, I got ties.
Oh, okay. See, look. This is why it's great to have producers, guys. This is great to have producers. It's good to have high people in high places. But yo, Maxwell Frost, man, I want to give you another shout out, man. I didn't know you were gonna speak at the convention. You spoke on Thursday, I believe it was. Yo, man, your speech was dope. Straight up, your speech was dope. I was dead tired from work on Thursday. Got home, I took my son, picked up my son from school, dropped him off to his mother. Was dead tired, and I stayed up to watch your speech. And then, yo, man, your speech was great, man. Your speech was great, straight up. And I just want to say to Maxwell Frost, man, it's so great to have you speaking for Florida because you're genuinely a breath of fresh air, man. You, AOC, it's so dope to see people in my age group get into politics and be successful and also do great things to try to inflict change in this BS that we have in our country. Next person I want to give a shout out, because I'm giving shout outs right now, so before I start kicking people's backs in a little bit more. And he the reason why he's laughing because he knows exactly whose back I'm going to kick in at the end of this topic. The next person I want to give a shout out to is none other than Mr. President Joe Biden. The reason I want to give Joe Biden a shout out, yo, man, you didn't have to come out and, talk at the convention because
we know.
Joe Biden, the reason I want to give you a shout out though, man, all jokes aside, is because, Phil, I don't know if you noticed, a lot of people don't remember this, but Joe Biden didn't have a convention when he was running for president because it was in the middle of COVID. But he still stepped up 10 toes down and supported Kamala. Damn. See, I've been watching Fox News so much that I'm pronouncing her name wrong. I apologize, Vice President Harris. But Joe Biden, I want to give you a shout out for that, man. You didn't have your moment at a convention because you didn't get one, but you had your moment on Monday. Shout outs to you, man. Real talk. Next person I want to give a shout out to is none other than the family that made me even start pay attention to politics when I was 12 years old. And that's none other than the Obamas. Shout outs to Barack. Shout outs to Michelle. Michelle had the dopest speech, yo. Michelle really had a dope speech. So shout outs to Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama is just class personified, bro. Literally just class personified. So shout outs to Michelle Obama. You did a great job, man. We miss you in the White House. We miss you, Michelle. Please run for president soon. Actually, if Vice President Harris wins, she'll probably win re-election on the second time around too. So I don't think at that point Michelle will even run for president. I think it'll be past her, her window to run. And I know a lot of people see me doing this with my hands. I'm moving my hands back and forth. I'm pulling a Barack Obama because, Barack Obama had a dope speech too. And he was talking about crowd sizes and how, the Cheeto man is so enamored and infatuated with talking about crowd sizes. And I feel like the crowd sizes, I feel like the reason why Trump loves crowd sizes and talking about it so much, because he's lacking in other places. If you see my hands.
It's the biggest you've ever seen.
It's the biggest crowd. It's the biggest crowd. He had a speech and he said that he had 70,000 people or 100,000 people at an arena that only holds 20,000 people. That makes no sense.
My math is perfect. My math is good.
My math is perfect. You read my tweets while Kamala was giving her speech, and where's Hunter? Where's Hunter Biden? Where's Hunter Biden? Oh, we're gonna win by a landslide, and I'm gonna work on my Trump. But
you have to be a little more nasally and raise it up. But you have to take your index finger and touch your thumb. There you go.
Yeah.
And slowly, almost sound out of breath. But you always have to stay with everybody knows. Everybody knows that I'm the smartest one in the room.
Yo, that man is a walking SNL skit. Like Ojo said, he's literally a walking SNL skit. Mm-hmm. But enough of the shout outs. Actually, wait. I got one more shout out. Shout outs to Governor Walz. Governor Walz had a dope speech. Vice President Harris had a dope speech as well. Keenan Thompson. Keenan Martin. I said Kenyon Martin. See, I watch basketball too much. But Keenan Thompson had a dope skit he kind of did where he was basically explaining Project 2025 to people who didn't really know about it. So shout out to Keenan Thompson for that as well. But Vice President Harris, amazing speech, thought-provoking. I saw the picture of like somebody painted of you and a little girl that was basically looking up to you, and I thought that was dope, man. That's dope. But back to Governor Walz. Yo, man, your speech was so dope, so thought-provoking, gut-wrenching. I want to give a shout-out to your son. When I found out your son is on the spectrum, I do, hold on, let me sit up a little bit so you guys can see my shirt. My shirt does say proud autism dad. My son is on the spectrum as well. Phil, my producer, his son is on the spectrum as well.
That's right.
And Governor Walz, seeing your son stand up and just clap for you and have that emotion for you, man, that hurt me, but it hit me in a different part of my heart. Because when my son hugs me, I love it. My son is he doesn't really understand emotions, and that right there made me feel all the emotions in the world, man.
We don't really count the milestones. We count the inch stones. So
yes.
To see Gus do something like that gives us hope.
Yes, exactly. And that just made me feel so proud as a father to see another father who has a son who's on the spectrum just get that love in front of everybody, unapologetically get that love as a father. I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, any color in between. When you get that love from your son, basically your next of kin, like your namesake, your what's the word I'm looking for? Your pride, more or less. When you get that love from that, it's dope. And especially somebody who's on the spectrum, it's dope, man. I just want to say thank you.
Because it's real.
It's real. There's no faking it. There's genuinely no faking it. Mm-hmm. Genuinely, there's no faking it. So I just want to say to that, to your son, Gus, man, shout outs to you guys. But time to kick somebody's back in. The person's back I'm going to kick in is Ann Coulter. Go ahead and put that picture on the screen.
So I had a little trouble finding an actual picture of Ann Coulter. So I merged two photos together. So you guys in the audience are going to have to decide which one is Ann Coulter, because I can't tell. So
yeah, I couldn't tell either when you showed me this picture. Yeah, which one is Ann Coulter? I genuinely can't tell, bro.
Who is that?
Let me stop laughing like that. But yo, Ann Coulter, the reason I want to kick your back in, you could delete your tweets as much as you want, but let me quote a great actor / comedian of my friend, not gonna say a friend of mine, but somebody I like, and that's Mr. Craig Robinson. I seen it. We all seen it. We seen it. Ann Coulter. If you guys didn't know, Ann Coulter basically said something crazy. I'm not gonna repeat it, but she basically was shitting on Gus Walz and his reaction to just standing up and praising his dad and clapping for his dad and hugging his dad. Ann Coulter, who I'm pretty sure probably knew that Gus was on the spectrum, still tweeted that comment. And when she saw the backlash she was getting, not only the backlash she was getting from Democrats or people who have kids who are on the spectrum, she was also getting the same backlash from Trump supporters as well. I was like, yo, you went too far. We never joke about kids. Keep kids out of it. Like, we joke about people, but don't joke about the kids. Yep. Even though Trump supporters don't give a damn about kids anyways.
Unless they're unborn.
Unless they're unborn, exactly. So, Ann Coulter, I want to kick your back in. You dry ass white tapioca pudding built ass bitch. I don't like calling women bitches, but you gotta do it from time to time. You tapioca looking bitch. You built like, you know what you built like this mic stand right here. This is what you built like. You built like this mic stand. Granted, you made a lot of money in your career. You and who's the lady that said told LeBron like shut up and dribble? Laura Ingraham, right?
Yeah, Ingraham.
Both of y'all are cut from the same cloth. Just you guys say things without realizing the repercussions of it because you're behind this wall right here. People, I like to say this to people, that camera that's staring at me is a fourth wall. I know what I say has an effect what goes on out there behind that camera and outside of this camera. Ann Coulter, you got to be better. But you won't be. You're stuck in your ways. You ain't shit. It's okay, though. Because guess what? You still ain't shit. So, anyways, the last thing I want to talk about when it comes to politics. Hey, shout outs to RFK for dropping out the race. Anyways. Also, to Trump, yo, man, for your lies and your speeches that make no sense, it's crazy to me how I think Trump has a great talent, actually. Trump is the best gaslighter I ever met in my life. I really think he's the best gaslighter of all time. Like, you'll have video proof and picture proof of him, like, doing something wrong. And he'll be like, well, now. Everybody knows I'm the most stand-up guy on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else knows this. But you'll have him in, like, 4K doing something stupid. Or you'll have him in 4K tweeting something stupid.
The crazy thing is that he has his supporters brainwashed because it's always, oh, that was out of context. That's not what he really meant.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch the whole video? It's always, there's never any accountability there.
Exactly. Trump is the best athlete also I've ever met in my life. I'm gonna explain why. Accountability be chasing him, but he outruns it every single time, bro. Trump is a better sprinter than Sha'Carri Richardson. I'll tell you that much. If I guarantee you right now, 2028 Olympics in LA, if I put Trump in the 200 meter with Sha'Carri Richardson and like Sharika Jackson from Jamaica, or even Noah Lyles from the US, and I put accountability chasing him down the track, I guarantee Trump outruns it. He probably run an 8-second 100 meter dash. I put money on it. I cash money on it. I put money on it, yo. Real talk. But anyways, on to some more serious topics that I'm going to be more sarcastic with, even though. Shout outs to Michael Rubin and The Breakfast Club and Meek Mill. If you guys don't know who Michael Rubin is the CEO and founder of Fanatics. If you don't know who Fanatics is the company that Fanatics owns Lids now, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, Fanatics owns Lids. Believe it or not, my first job I ever worked was at Lids, believe it or not. My first job ever, I worked at Lids, and then I quit Lids and started working for another company I'm not going to mention because I'm still trying to get tickets this season. I don't want to say anything crazy about them. We'll talk about them at a later date, the company I'm talking about. We'll talk about them at a later date when the NBA season comes around. But I used to work for Lids, but shout outs to Michael Rubin. Michael Rubin does a lot of great things in the community, but Michael Rubin slipped up this week, and he did a bad slip up. I'll explain why. Michael Rubin had a comment on The Breakfast Club. He was basically speaking about, he spoke about a multitude of things, and I think it was like a 40-minute interview. He spoke about a multitude of things. But he was specifically talking about Meek Mill. And this is what he said about Meek Mill. And when I read this quote, I'm going to end with end quote. But after I'm done reading this quote, I'm explaining to you why Michael Rubin was right, but he was also wrong. Let me read this quote. So in his interview with The Breakfast Club, Michael Rubin said, when I see a narrative of a really good friend of mine, like Meek, he's referring to Meek Mill, and people trying to, again, if he was gay, which there's not one gay bone in his body, who cares? Number one, he said. If people want to be gay, it's 2024. Who the fuck cares? Number two, there's not a gay bone in his body, so why do people want to lie about that? Why do people want to change the narrative of a bet he made with me to hurt him? Also, end quote, sorry. When Michael Rubin said that, he also was basically explaining that's a problem in our black community. And that's the hate on hate, or black on black hate, more or less. Michael Rubin, you're not wrong in your comments. Let me explain why Michael Rubin's not wrong, but I'm explaining to you guys why also he is wrong. This is one of those prime examples of right message, wrong messenger. Michael Rubin made a great point in saying that we have an issue in our black community with us hating on each other, which is true. There's no discussion. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. If you don't believe me, go on Twitter and see what black men tweet about Vice President Harris and how she's running for president. That's a prime example of black on black hate, because the way they talk about her has nothing to do with politics, has nothing to do with policy, has nothing to do with any of that stuff. And you'll see why what Michael Rubin said is true. If you don't believe me either, let's just rewind back a couple of months. We saw how us as a community, and when I mean a community, black community, and us as a culture, when I mean culture, I mean hip hop culture, spoke about Kendrick, Drake, Future, Drake, J. Cole in that 2-month span, how we shitted on J. Cole for dropping out of a beef, how we shitted on Drake because everyone thinks Drake is an alleged pedophile, how we shitted on Kendrick because Kendrick is an alleged DV abuser, right? It'll be DV abuser, right? If I'm correct. All right. We spoke about these things, and we just piled on and piled on and piled on and piled on and piled on to the point that whole beef, that whole saga got dead, and we just got over it, and we went to the next thing to hate on for the summer. Michael Rubin is not wrong in what he says, and when he says it's a crabs in a barrel mentality that we have in the black community, and we need to tighten up on. Granted, there's no one-stop shop fix for all of it. And I don't know what to say to make it better, but I can only do better myself as a father, do better myself as a black man, do better myself as someone who's born from a Haitian immigrant. I see it in Haitian culture all the time, Haitian Americans. I see it all the time in Dominican culture. I see it all the time in Puerto Rican culture. It's not just black people that got this issue. There's other cultures around the world that have this issue. But black people, we amplify it so much, and the media amplifies it as well. I'm not going to give them a pass on this as well. But the reason why Michael Rubin was wrong in saying it, because he's the wrong person to say it. And I'm not saying it because he's white. Let me preface my next comments when I say this is that I'm not being anti-Semitic when I say these next words. And I mean that dead seriously. This is the serious part, not the sarcastic part. I mean this dead seriously. I'm not trying to be anti-Semitic. Jewish people, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I know Jewish people, this, that, and the third. I grew up in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, New York, which is a neighborhood that is literally half black, Hispanic. The other half is Jewish. So, Michael Rubin, you're from a community that anytime you get criticized, it's automatically you get canceled and there's no way for you to come back from. And people try to end your livelihood. I'm not talking about what happened with Kanye. I'm more so referring to what happened with Kyrie or anybody who says anything about the Jewish community or the Jewish faith or religion. I don't think it's right. So I don't think it's fair for you to do that, but yet and still I can't criticize your community, because if I were to criticize your community, this podcast will probably cease to exist tomorrow, to be utterly honest with you. They'll try their hardest to get me up out of here. Here's the other thing. I can't criticize your community because the second I criticize your community, if we made this topic a short on TikTok, it'll be taken down on TikTok. I made it on YouTube, it'll be taken off of YouTube. If I made it on YouTube, I'll probably get demonetized. If I made it on Twitter, I'll probably get blocked by Elon Musk. So I personally don't think you were the right person to say it. However, I do appreciate you apologizing. Whoever it was that caused you to, talk you off that cliff, more or less, for lack of a better term. I want to say shout out to that person, whoever that person may be. Michael Rubin, like I said to the black community, Michael Rubin was not wrong in what he said. He just was the wrong person to say it. And it sucks to say that because, let's be real, if LeBron James would have said it, we all would have been like, yo, LeBron's right. Jay-Z would have said it, we'd be like, oh, Jay-Z's right. Denzel Washington would have said it, oh, Denzel's right. If Oprah would have said it, we'd be like, Oprah's right. If Barack Obama said it, we'd have been like, oh, Barack is right. Nigga, you know what? Who gives a fuck about this? But if Ja Rule would have said it, we all would have said Ja Rule is right. Soulja Boy would have said, we would have said Soulja Boy is right. Michael Eric Dyson, Dr. Michael Eric Dyson would have said it. We all would have said he was right. But because it came out of Michael Rubin's mouth, not only he's a white man, he's also a Jewish man, we all got offended by it. And that's the problem that we have in society today. I'm gonna wrap this up with this one statement. People are so upset by the tone of something that's told to them rather than what's actually told to them. It's the reason why we get a lot of miscommunication, whether it be in relationships with male and female, male and male, female, whether it be your coworkers, romantic relationships, your coworker relationship, friendships, romantic relationships, family relationships. We always get mad about the tone of the statement rather than the statement itself and try to course correct so we can be better as people. And until then, which probably is never going to happen at this point in society, the way society's going, stuff like Michael Rubin is saying is going to affect not only the black community, but other communities around us as well. But anyways, now to a more funny topic. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 topics are over. Now it's time for number 5. And we're going to end the show with another weekly segment of Bro, What You On?
Bro, what you on?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Bro, What You On segment of this week comes from a man who decided to invade the police, right? But when he invaded the police, instead of like running, jumping over a fence, or like parking his car, he thought he was, what's the name of the dudes with the Confederate flag?
Oh, the Dukes of Hazzard.
Dukes of Hazzard. He thought he was the Dukes of Hazzard and tried to jump a 100-foot cliff in his car. Yes, a driver left the police on a 45-minute chase in New York, Long Island. Matter of fact, I'm from New York. Where the hell did he find a 100-foot cliff in New York City?
Yeah, well,
that's the thing about the story that made no sense to me, bro. Where he found a 100-foot cliff in New York City? Like, that made no sense.
That's so true.
But yeah, the driver led the police on a 45-minute chase in New York City's Long Island, drove off a 100-foot cliff in Long Island. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at this. The Monday car chase first started when police in South Hold, I believe it's called, which is on the east side of Long Island. Oh yeah, far east Long Island. They were responding to a domestic violence call. The driver reached speeds of up to 100 miles per hour, invading the police. When he basically, here's the thing though, he was driving almost 100 miles per hour at certain points in this chase, and he drove back and forth through Long Island. If anybody's never been to New York City before, or even the state of New York, Long Island's really not that big. It's really not. I live in Orlando. The Central Florida is bigger than Long Island. So that's to show you how long this chase was going on for 45 minutes, which is crazy. But he started headed towards Greenport, and he started heading towards the water. When he saw this water, this man did not stop. This man would have thought he was in GTA or something like that. I swear to God.
Fast and Furious.
I'm glad you mentioned Fast and Furious. I guarantee you halfway through that car chase, he started playing that Fast and Furious song. Halfway through the car chase, it was like dun 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 dun. Oh yeah, fun fact, that Tokyo Drift Fast and Furious song, guess who produced it?
Bow Wow.
Nope.
Who?
Pharrell.
Oh, I believe it.
You know how I found out?
How?
So if you ever listen to Pharrell's beats since like maybe like 2010, all his beats start with the same 4 count. The dun dun dun.
Dun. Oh,
yep.
Oh, you're right.
Go back and listen to Happy. Dun 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 dun.
Oh,
you
my
might
goodness.
be crazy what I'm about to say. All that. Yeah, all that. But anyways, back to this dude. Let me get his name real quick, because I think I never got the man's name. Hold on, let me get his name
I have
real
it
quick.
on the screen here.
What's the man's name? I know the police chief was like Flatley was the police chief that was speaking to the.
Oh no, I don't have a name here.
Yeah, there's no name on this, bro. But anyways, yeah, so he drove off a 100-foot cliff, and the cops fished him out the water. And the worst part was he landed he didn't even land in that deep of water. He drove off a 100-foot cliff and landed into about 3 to 5 feet of water. If you want to know how deep that is, if you ever stood into a regular residential pool and just stood up, I'm 5'11", 6 foot. I think I'm 5'11". I don't think I'm 6 foot, to be honest with you. But my license says 6 foot.
All the dating apps say I'm 6'2".
Yeah, on the dating apps I say I'm 6'6". And when they ask me like, "Oh, you're not 6'6", I'm like, well, if I stand on my wallet. I'm lying. If I stand on my hopes and dreams, I'm broke, baby. But nah, he landed in 3 to 5 feet of water. If you don't know how deep 3 to 5 feet is, fellas, that Latina girl DMs that you're sliding into, she's about that height. So, yo, I want to give that man the bro what you want award of the day. But yo, my man, why would you jump? Yo, why would he really drive off a cliff into 3 feet of water to invade the cop? He still got arrested. Luckily, the man is still alive. Obviously, he's still alive. He lived to tell the tale, and obviously he got arrested. But my man, the other reason why I put him on a bro what you want segment is because when I heard it was about domestic violence, that's how this chase started. It was kind of like, bro, why are you putting your hand on a woman in the first place, and then running away from the cops? If you man enough to put your hand on a woman, you man enough to stand there with a cop and go toe to toe with him. Real talk, pussy ass motherfucker. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, give him a bro.
What you on?
Ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of the Serious Sarcasm Pod. My name is Jay DeRozier. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like the pod, please like, comment, subscribe. Wow, the thunder going crazy around here right now. But please like, comment, subscribe. Share it to your friends. Share the shorts on your stories. I do appreciate every like, every comment, every subscription, every person who sits there and joins the Serious Sarcasm community. Soon I'm gonna be launching the Reddit page for the Serious Sarcasm Podcast, and I'm also gonna be soon in the future we're gonna be launching a Patreon page as well. We got take it baby steps, and we're gonna get there sooner or later. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Jay DeRozier. It's been another Serious Sarcasm episode. Peace.